What's up, Academy, and welcome to your wake up drill of the day. So, it's a little in the afternoon today, and I didn't get time to get down here this morning and get my wake up drill done, but it gave me some time to think. And, one of the things that I love is when a student comes to me and says, Eric, I can't draw the ball. Well, you can draw the ball. And as a matter of fact, drawing the ball is actually fairly easy as long as you have just a small amount of confidence in yourself. Now, I'm going to run this by you. If you can shoot in the center part of the ball and you can follow through straight, and you can shoot on the top part of the cue ball and you can follow through straight, well, that means that you can follow through the bottom part of the cue ball and you can follow through straight. See, ladies and gentlemen, the secret to draw is not a whippy wrist. It's not holding the cue really, really, really light or anything like that, even though holding it a specific lightness, I guess, is required. But we hold our cue traditionally somewhat light anyway. Just because we're trying to draw the ball doesn't magically mean that if we're gripping our cue with our whole hand, we all of a sudden go to our fingertips or something like that. What we're going to do instead is we're going to think about our delivery of the cue stick. If you can follow through in the center part of the ball, and if you can follow through in the top part of the ball, you can follow through in the bottom part of the ball, which leads us to what we're going to do today. What we want to do here is we want to create a nice base setup to draw the cue ball. Now, there is such a thing as getting too low. Okay, now let me tell you what happens when a player miscues. And when a player miscues, traditionally two things. The first one is the most obvious one. Maybe you didn't chalk your cue stick and the friction wasn't present when the curvature of the cue tip met the curvature of the cue ball, and the result was kind of a pop, and then the cue ball goes off the pool table or it goes up in the air. Okay, now the second one actually has to do with your tip hitting the felt before the tip makes contact with the cue ball. See, in a good finish, especially with a draw stroke, we really would like that tip following through the cue ball and then finishing really strong into the felt. But if we have our cue stick too far back, so when we set up, if we have our cue stick too far back, we have it in the lower area here. Okay, now you can see where my cue stick is in relationship to my cue ball. Well, this is me at a neutral position. Okay, so that means when I'm starting to move forward, I'm still not at the cue ball yet before I make contact with it, which is going to let me potentially go underneath the cue, hit felt first, which is going to scoop the cue ball off of the table. So what we really want to work on here is making sure that we put our front hand, our bridge hand, in a spot to where the cue tip is close to the cue ball as possible. So when you start to move forward, the cue tip is going to be striking the cue ball. And my rule of thumb, I guess rule of pinky, I should say, I shouldn't be able to fit my pinky finger between the tip and the cue ball. When I get into a shot, I have about half my cue tip, or my pinky finger here, that's going to be distance between the cue ball and the cue tip. So what that's going to look like is about that much. Okay. Now a lot of players, let me get closer here. Okay, so a lot of players here, they have something that's out here like this. Well, that's not going to do any good, because as you're starting to follow through, you're going to come underneath the ball, and then the ball is going to go up in the air. We want to be as close as we possibly can without touching the ball, so when we start to go, we get that contact and we get that backwards revolution that the tip wants to give us to drive a draw stroke. So, a couple things that go into today. We want to create, I have a ball that's about a diamond away from the side pocket, and I'm just going to give myself a little angle to cut the ball into the side pocket. It can be, it shouldn't be major. Don't get all the way out here. Best thing I can tell you is, instead of straight in, move it a ball to the left or a ball to the right. So I'm going to move the cue ball a ball to the left. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to work on this draw stroke. I'm going to make sure my tip has some nice chalk on it, and I'm going to get down real strong, and I'm going to cut the ball into the pocket. Okay, and now all I'm thinking about here is my follow through. I'm not going to be doing anything fancy. If I can follow through the middle and the high part of the ball, I can follow through the bottom part of the ball. Then my phrase, wherever you start's wherever you finish. If you follow through and you start low, you finish low. Here, low. And then you can see the ball's going to come backwards. Okay? Now, I got a lot of slide on this table so it didn't snap back. Okay, now we can change speeds. If I hit it softer, I'll get more grab quicker. So we come through here, don't hit it as hard. Okay, now everybody thinks that draw is unbelievably difficult. You want a bigger bend in the cue ball? All you need is more angle. Everybody thinks that it's super fancy. It's not. Bigger bend, bigger angle. Okay, so it's nothing that is super psychotic. It is the idea that, oh, it looks cool, which is why people do it. But it has a purpose. So the next time that you have to draw a shot, think to yourself, get your bridge into a position where your cue tip is as close to the cue ball as it can be. Then we're going to lower down into the cue ball, and then we're going to slowly pull back and accelerate through. And then the ball is going to go backwards one way or another. If it doesn't go backwards, you weren't low enough. So there comes instances, sometimes I'll shoot balls into this side pocket too. There comes instances where we're afraid we're going to miscue, and then on the follow through, what we do is instead of aiming real low, when we're coming through, we raise our cue stick up and we wind up hitting the center part of the ball. This is where this phrase again comes in, wherever you start, wherever you finish. If I'm going to get down low, I need to make sure that I'm finishing low. And you're seeing consistent pullback here, folks. Again, we're seeing a lot of drag on my table, and that's because it's brand new. If I want it to come back quicker, I just slow down the stroke and I don't hit it as hard. Okay, so there's your wake-up drill of the day. Set up shots, get your cue tip closer to the cue ball, and work on the idea of wherever you start is wherever you finish. You don't got to pull back real fast and follow through just as fast. Pull back slow. Think about that nice controlled stroke that good pool players preach. It's not anything that's like this all the time, okay? Nice and slow, and then get through the cue ball really smooth. The ball will come backwards, I promise you. If you are still having issues with it, this is something that I specialize in. Okay, I enjoyed drawing the ball when I was a kid, so I figured out how to do it very quickly. I can help you with it. You can contact me, and I will definitely aid you in it. This is one of my sell points for one of my instructions. I tell people all the time, if I can't get you to draw the ball in 2 minutes, I will give you an hour session for free. And they always go, oh, this is going to be easy. And I do simple steps. And then all the ball has to do is come back this much. You drew the ball. You might not have drawn the ball 8 foot like you wanted to, but you told me you couldn't draw the ball. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, you can draw the ball. Have a little bit of confidence in yourself. Wherever you start is wherever you finish. Have a good day. We'll see you later.